Hey guys, Veebat here with another V-Plays, and we rebought an aircraft that I think most people actually hate. This is going to be the XP-72, the Tier 8 American multi-role. This is the one right before the F-84B and right after the P-47N. Now, the XP-72 suffers from a severe lack of jet engine. At Tier 8, you're coming up against a lot more aircraft that are making that transition, and one of the reasons the XP-72 never saw active service was it was one of those aircraft that was caught in the evolution to the jet age. And as a result, you ended up finding an aircraft that was just left behind. Now, it does have counter-rotating props, which you don't get the counter-rotating props until you upgrade the airframe. It has nothing to do with the engine, oddly enough. So you got to upgrade that if you want it. This does get a benefit of an extra rocket compared to the P-47N. Still carries two 500-pound bombs, and believe it or not, the air-to-ground ordnance on this is actually going to be more than what you would have on the F-2G, even though it has a massive 1,600-pound bomb on it. Whoop. Try and dodge some of that AA fire. What do we got here? Bomber. We do, however, have the same machine guns as an F-86 Sabre at Tier 10. Not the best maneuverability, but enough. And since we are a multi-role, unlike the F-86 or the FJ-1, where we just don't have the hit points to be able to do something like this, we are actually able to intercept those things and still be alive at the end of it. So that's an important fact. It should be enough to be able to capture that section right there, right? No? Yep. Good. Still got our bombs and a few more rockets. Can we get this 288C knocked out? Oh man, you guys seen that stutter? Can we survive this run? Man, are we getting latency issues or what? Let's drop the nose. Sweet. Managed to pick it up. Now, of course, we lost our engine on that run-in, but let's get some altitude back. Now, this does have decent altitude performance, around 6,000, and the airspeed is actually really good too, better than the F-2G. Doesn't have the best turn performance, but, you know, it's a multi-role. It does all right for itself. We are out-tiered, so we're going to have to bear that in mind. A little bit of phantom rounds. There is the TU. Nah, he wasn't long for this world. We are overextending ourselves just a little bit here. Here comes a bomber. Would prefer one of my heavies intercept this guy, since we know it's not the easiest thing for us to do. And he's got a nasty tail gunner. It's got a big old cannon on it. Since these are machine guns, we do have a high potential for lighting a fire. Can we sustain the damage? Got him, man. We really took a beating there, but you can see we build back quite a bit of hit points in the passive regen, so let's let that start ticking away. Our engine and wing should come back shortly. And we're still maintaining some pretty decent flight characteristics here, despite being at nearly 8,000 feet. I really don't want to have to go up against this guy either, but it doesn't look like it's one of those days where I get a choice, is it? Oh, he's maneuvering. Okay, we damaged him pretty good. Let's get out of the tail gunner. We're just going to stay directly below him and then get out of range of his tail gunners. We can come back on him after we get a little bit of regen. We did some pretty good damage to him. Come on. There we go. This guy also has a nasty tail gunner. Man, we've really been taking a beating, haven't we? But those machine guns actually add up pretty well. Doesn't do too bad for itself. Trying to keep our angles so we're not getting too much of the tail gunner here. Now we got two of them with intersecting crosshairs right now. Their tail gunners are both hitting me on that approach. Might be better to go up against... Well, we already did a lot of work on this one. Let's see if we can finish him. One down. Now the IL-10 sacrifices armor for some maneuverability. And he is gone. Nice. Okay. Maintaining this zone is key. Let's get somebody else to help me out with this one. Trying to pull an intercept course here. Get that fire. Come on. Got him. Nice. Man, we spent the entire time essentially countering bombers and ground attackers. Get him, buddy, get him. Alright. I picked him up. That was my buddy and the attacker. Nice. And this should solidify the victory, so good game to both sides. And I never went to the central area. I didn't try and dogfight with this thing. I was mostly going up against, well, I was going up against ground targets and then ground attackers and bombers. So what's a multi-role's job? A multi-role's job is to flip a capture zone, or at least aid in flipping a capture zone as quickly as possible through a combination of killing aircraft and dropping munitions. We've got a good amount of munitions, we've got decent enough guns, but really good airspeed, and we have the hit points to be able to stay on bombers like that. So those were equal tier bombers we were up against, and we were still able to do all right. Now this isn't an expert pilot here. He's only got 4 skill points and 2 skills attributed. And somebody had mentioned, they're like, why'd you go uprated engine? Well, in certain aircraft it's just because it was available, and that was the case here. But something to bear in mind is that that keeps my base cruise speed up. So when I'm going up to altitudes I'm not supposed to be at, the engine's able to kind of hold itself at those good airspeeds. But check this out. Max boost speed is 496 miles an hour. You're talking about a tier 8 aircraft going nearly 500 miles an hour. The F-2G barely comes close to that. And the J-21RB, which is a jet, is also going to struggle to get to those airspeeds. So the XP-72, despite being a propeller aircraft, actually does really well for itself in maintaining very good speed characteristics. And even though this is unupgraded, looking at the stats for a P-51H, but even his airspeed is it's gonna come close, but he's gonna have to upgrade to do it. And of course, it's not going to get the air-to-ground ordnance either. So, yeah, there it is, the XP-72 in all its glory. For those of you that are grinding down the line, I do feel you. It feels lackluster. It only has 6 machine guns instead of 8. It feels like it's just suffering from the times. You know, it's just left behind technologically, being a propeller-driven aircraft. But learning the lessons that you've learned from the P-47, the XP-44, play this thing like a multi-role, and I think you'll be surprised at how effective it can be. And that air-to-ground payload is no joke. And those machine guns, I had to look it back up and double check myself. Those are tier 10 50 cal machine guns. They are firing at a fairly incredible rate. We can go to upgrades here. You're looking at 1,200 rounds per minute, doing 80 damage a second. 1,200 rounds a minute, guys, with a 10% chance of fire with the gun sight we have. This thing is a force to be reckoned with when you play it appropriately. So I hope I showcase that there is some redeeming qualities in this aircraft, and that when you're grinding down the line, even though I do think the F-84 Bravo and Fox are much better airframes all around, this is still a very capable fighter. So give it a chance, and you're going to be spending some time in it anyways, so you might as well either learn to love it or you're just going to have to slog through the grind. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video and gave you a little bit of hope if you're going down this line, and I'll catch you on the next one.